just facts. Flint water still dirty, they ain't got our back. MAGA hats in the crowd, but we see through the act. They talk make America great, but it's us they attack. Real life in politics, ain't no tricks, just facts. Flint water still dirty, they ain't got our backs. MAGA hats in the crowd, but we see through the act. They talk make America great, but it's us they attack. Up in Flint, where the pipes run.
Yeah, what up, y'all? Welcome to Real Life in Politics, where I give my perspective on politics from a melanated man's perspective, a man from Flint, Michigan, where I pretty much break down how we look at politics and how we look at politicians in this country, in America, where we from. So on this video, I got the Romano report, and this is a channel that I follow. I pretty much agree with a lot of what he speak on. In this video, he's saying what I've been saying about how the Trump MAGA party took over the Republican Party and how the Republican Party is in trouble. In this video, you're gonna see the whole breakdown. I'm glad somebody else, and this is a educated lawyer, and he's very knowledgeable, and he know what he's talking about. So I want y'all to check this video out, and then I'm gonna give my reaction to it afterward. All right, check it out.
I don't think the GOP is going to survive post-Trump. There's too many conflicting personalities trying to jockey for the mantle to MAGA, and none of them have what it takes to be Trump's successor. We are witnessing the end of a future post-MAGA movement as we know it, because everyone inside the big tent the GOP forced on us realizes that they hate each other. There won't be a viable political movement post-MAGA. You can see the writing on the wall. Nobody has what it takes. Now, I agree with Laura Loomer, but probably not for the same reasons. For some of the same reasons, but not all for the same reasons. But when she says, I don't think that the GOP is going to survive post-Trump, I agree with that. I think they are absolutely screwed once Trump is gone. Now, they will continue to exist as a party, and maybe they can reform themselves over time. Maybe they can get their shit together at some point in the future, but it's going to be a long, hard slog. And I don't know that they will. It may be that the Republican Party is beyond repair. But let me tell you why I think the Republican Party is completely and totally screwed. And I've been saying this for a long time, once Trump leaves the scene. Because the Republican Party is no longer a political party. That's where you got to begin on this. It's a personality cult. It ceased at some point in the last 10 years. It ceased to be a political party. Political parties are based, at least loosely, on some shared set of, you know what, just give me a second. I'm going to step out of the sun here and reposition myself. Right, that's better. A political party is based, at least loosely, on a shared set of principles, values, political positions, that kind of thing. Today's Republican Party is not. They believe in nothing. I mean, they'll tell you they believe in something today, but what they believe in today might not be the same thing they say they believe in or support tomorrow. They have abandoned every single principle and position they ever claimed to hold. They had to, in order to defend Donald Trump. Because at some point, they decided that they're just gonna, the party stands for whatever the hell it is that Donald Trump says at any given point in time. And they said as much in their 2020, I think it was their 2020 platform when Trump ran for re-election in 2020. They, for the first time ever, had no official party platform with their set of positions and principles. They basically said officially, the Republican Party at the Republican National Convention, our party platform is whatever Donald Trump says it is. That's a cult, my friends. That is not a political party. And so just think of all the major issues and the position the Republican Party, not all that long ago, took on major issues. And now look at where they are now. Look at what used to be their position on Russia and Russian aggression and the Russian quest for territorial expansion. What was their view of our alliances? What was their view of NATO? What would their view of Ukraine have been just a few years ago? What about free trade? They used to be for free trade. Now they're a protectionist party. Now they want massive tariffs. And they're too stupid, most of them, to even understand what tariffs are. I mean, on and on and on. They have abandoned nearly all of the positions, all of the principles that they used to support.
That was the Romano report. He really gave an accurate description of what I always been saying, especially since this last election about Trump. Talking to a lot of the MAGA supporters, that's exactly how I worded. I'm gonna leave the link to the video at the bottom in the description. Check that out, the Romano report. He's a prosecutor or former prosecutor and a constitutional and law lecturer. Check him out, man. I watch a lot of his videos, a lot of things. I'm one of those kind of people, when I hear somebody say something, I'm glad they say it. You know what I'm saying? If they say something I agree with, I'm going to pretty much give them the credit for saying it. You know what I mean? So I feel the same way that he does. I wanted to add my 2 cents to what the Romano report spoke on, because you got a lot of people out here like myself that are very vocal about what's happening with the Republican Party and how they're not even a party no more. They're a cult. They're a cult. I've been saying it. You know, it's just refreshing to hear and see other like-minded people. And there's somebody that's, you know, highly educated. I'm educated too. I got a degree in software, but this guy has a degree in law. And so it's great to be able to hear some expert in this field, you know, saying the same things that I be saying. So it's just great and refreshing to hear that. So yeah, check him out most definitely. And like I was saying, you know, the Republican Party, I don't even know if we can call it a party no more. It's the MAGA people. You know what I mean? We have never seen nothing like this in our lifetime. Anyway, I don't know if I've been doing research on if any of these political parties were ever like cults, became cults. And I can't find nothing in American history. You know, I think the closest thing would be, I think it was Woodrow Wilson when that movie, Birth of a Nation. The first one was about the rebirth of the KKK, because the KKK was in decline for maybe, you know, I don't know, maybe 50 years at that time. And then the movie kind of popularized the resurgence of the KKK. Other than that, I can't think of, you know, no other like, well, against our people, which is the melanated people, it's always been a cult, like, you know, following to try to keep us down. So this is really nothing new to our people, but it's just, I don't know, I think for our people, which I'm saying melanated people, you know, African descent, slave descent here in America, throughout the years, we have watched this whole culture, so-called American culture, turn into, you know, pretty much to where, you know, all the hate that was directed towards us now is beginning to be directed towards themselves. Hate. And this is what I think, you know, our elders, Martin Luther King and that, you know, that era that was, you know, marching, I think they was trying to keep them from themselves. Because that's what hate does. Hate, you will eventually turn that hate on yourself. And so that you know what, the whole civil rights movement, that really benefited. If white people was paying attention, it helped them more than it helped us. You know what I'm saying? Like, because we wasn't direct, we didn't have no hate to direct towards them in general. You know what I mean? They had an in general hate directed towards our people. No matter where we went, no matter what we did, it was hate waiting on us. So that eventually will turn against yourself. You will eventually begin to self-sabotage. And that's what I believe this whole MAGA thing is showing us. White flight from us, moving out to the suburbs. It's a whole lot of cult activity out there now. Because just because you were away from who you really don't have no reason to hate, who you think you're gonna have to eventually look at yourself, the source of the hate. And you're not gonna like what you see, right? So I think a lot of what we're seeing with the MAGA is really just is really the hate in general within a lot of the same people that hated us anyway. They're starting to share that hate with each other, So yeah, man, I want to, like I said, give another shout out to the Romano Report for y'all check his channel. I'm add the link to that video so you can watch that video in full. I watch a lot of his commentary and a lot of his videos. He always had the same backdrop. He in the woods, nice, nature type of background. Yeah, I really enjoy his videos and his perspective. I share a lot. Probably, I ain't gonna say a lot, probably all of his perspective be spot on with how I think. So yeah, but this is my perspective on that from a melanated man's perspective. It's being from this country and knowing the history of this country and seeing what's going on right now. I could tell you from the inside of my culture, none of this stuff surprises us. None of it. Fascism and all that, that's basically an extension of what racism is. So that's not a surprise to us. Matter of fact, after what our people been through in this country, nothing is a surprise. So that's why you don't see us out here marching right now. That's why you don't see us out here doing like in an uproar, because this is nothing compared to what our people been through. Even the deploying of the National Guards, which I told a lot of my contemporaries and my peers that DC and Oakland and LA, it's going to be Baltimore. It's going to be Detroit. It's going to be Chicago. It's going to be all these chocolate cities, New Orleans, wherever there's a majority black. He's going to deploy these National Guards, right? And on the flip side of that, I would say, me personally, I don't think it should take that. But guess what? Within our community, it's been a whole lot of lawlessness going on. I don't care how bad it get. There's no excuse for lawlessness. Hurting your own people, hunting your own people, But I just think that the National Guard is just going to make it worse. I think it's going to make it worse. I don't think it's going to solve nothing. So that's my opinion on that. So yeah, man. Look, I'm going to end this video by saying, if you're new here, subscribe, share, like, if you like this kind of content, tap in, stay tapped in. I'm gonna keep a whole lot more videos coming in my perspective on them. I plan to have interviews, talking with my local people here in Flint, Michigan, Detroit, Midwest, and eventually go on the road with this. So thank you for your support.
Yeah. It's real life. Real life in politics, baby. Real life in politics. Ain't no tricks, just facts. make America great, but it's us they attack. Real life in politics, ain't no tricks, just facts. Flint water still dirty, they ain't got our backs. MAGA hats in the crowd, but we see through the act. They talk make America great, but it's us they attack.